another episode in ratio analysis. Okay. Now, in this video, we are going to take it further. We are in the last segment of the ratios, which is the set of profitability ratios. Profitability ratios meaning all related to profits. Out of this, we have already done two ratios, that is net profit ratio and gross profit ratio in our last video. Now, in continuation, let us find out what is the meaning of operating profit. Okay, because we need to find out the operating ratio and the operating profit ratio also. Now again, many children get confused here when they are asked to find out operating ratio. Some by mistake find out the operating profit ratio. These two are completely different things. When we are talking about operating ratio, we are talking about operating costs as a percentage of sales revenue from operations into 100. Alright. And when we are talking about operating profit, we are talking about the ratio of operating profit to the sales. Correct? So one is the cost, one is profit. Of course, these are completely opposite. So please do not jumble this up. Now, that is the formula. Easy formulas: operating profit ratio is operating profit by revenue from operations into 100, and operating ratio is operating costs by revenue from operations into 100. Now you all understand what is the meaning of cost of revenue from operations, meaning cost of goods sold. We have already done that. Yes. Operating costs include not just the cost of goods sold but also some other operating expenses. Operating expenses you need to get very clearly in your heads, because this will also be required as concept in the chapters to come, which is like cash flow statement and all. So here, operating expenses are those expenses which are not direct expenses, but without spending for these, you will not be able to do your basic activities, meaning your core activities. Simply production is not important. We need to sell it off also, right? So whatever are the related expenses, which are just naturally that happen in order to have that operating profit, are called operating expenses. Examples would be employee benefit expenses like salaries, right? Depreciation and amortization, because we are using the fixed assets. Depreciation is a natural cost attached to it. Selling and distribution expenses like advertisement. Bad debts, again, it's a normal regular loss to you, or normal expense. Then distribution of goods, like transportation of goods, you paid carriage, you paid carriage outward, and then office and administrative expenses. Okay, so because you need an office to run the show, correct? Rent paid, or all those electricity, all those bills, the regular taxes that you are paying. All these will be operating expenses. Alright. So here we need to get operating costs, which we will get from cost of goods sold and other information given to us. Okay. Please note here that operating expenses are not direct expenses. Direct expenses already we have calculated or included in cost of goods sold. These are indirect expenses, and although they are related to your basic activities, your basic business of what you are doing, the goods you are dealing with, okay, or services you are providing. So I hope this concept of operating cost is clear. It will be further clear when we do the non-examples. Okay. Coming to operating profit. Operating profit meaning, first thing you know that this is a chart I have made here. Let's go from here. This will be easier. This is suppose your trading account. You make trading and profit and loss account. You remember of your class 11. First thing, trading account gives you your profit, gross profit, right? So gross profit, how do we calculate? My sales, basically what it is. Sales minus cost of goods sold, right? This will give me gross profit. This is the actual core basic profit of your manufacturing, right? Till production. After that, what happens? You also have some, you are selling it, so you do have some operating income, operating other income like discount received, commission received. This is incidental to your business. It's not something separate. Okay. So when you are selling goods, you're receiving, making payments, you're receiving discounts, you're receiving commission when you are giving services, trading services. So all those are your operating income. Fine. There are certain operating expenses also further which are there. See, all of these will be in your profit and loss account. These are not direct. Salary, advertisement, rent, insurance, and I just told you. So these are all operating expenses. So if I just, add to gross profit, here I am adding to gross profit operating income, and then from here we are subtracting operating expense. Only the operating, not the non-operating. I will come to that. What is non-operating? We get operating profit. So operating profit, you can say it's somewhere between the gross profit and net profit. Okay, so operating profit is one more definition added to the definition of profits. So gross profit, net profit. Your net profit is what? Taking all expenses and all incomes together. This is the overall profit. Net profit is overall profit. We are not excluding any income or expense, right? So this is the bottom line. This is the end of it. This is your final result kind of. So how do we come from here to here? Operating profits and net profit कैसे आएंगे? There are certain other operating income तो ले लिया. Non-operating incomes are there. Non-operating में not related to your basic or direct operations. Not related to your basic business. Example, dividend received, interest received, rent received. When do you receive a dividend or interest? When you have made certain investment outside business, which is not your basic business, right? You had some funds lying there idle, so you have invested in some other company, shares of other company, debentures of other company, or you have taken a property and you have let it out on lease, so rent aa raha hai. All these incomes are not related to your basic activity. This is something over and above. So these are called non-operating incomes. Alright? Not related to your operations. Similarly, we have certain non-operating expenses such as loss on sale of fixed assets or an abnormal loss. These are not your operating expenses. These are not regular. These are abnormal losses, right? Therefore, such expenses paid are also excluded from calculation of operating profit. So now when I am finding out the overall net profit, of course I will have to take everything. So from operating profit, I will subtract non-operating expense also, and I will add non-operating income. So what do I get? Net profit. Are you getting this? The entire flow of this, the waterfall. So it starts from sales, your income, cost of goods sold minus कर दिया तो gross profit आ गया. Gross profit से सिर्फ operating expense minus किया, and you've added, if at all there's some operating income also, so you've got go to the next level, operating profit. Then you add some non-operating income also, whatever is left, and you subtract the leftover non-operating expense also, and therefore that comes here. Okay. One more example of non-operating expense again, which is worth mentioning, is the finance costs. Finance costs meaning the fixed interest expenses, okay, on the borrowings. Suppose you've taken a loan from the bank or debentures you've taken and you have to pay interest on that. So on that, of course, when you are talking, so those are called your finance costs, which is again a non-operating expense, not related to your operations. It is related to your finance. How do you get your finance? Okay, it's a financial thing. So if this is clear, we know operating profit is. Now, if you have been given in the sum, you can be given any which ways, okay? So this entire connection is very important. Very, very important. This entire flow chart that I have made, okay? Sometimes you might be given net profit and you need to find operating profit. So net profit से क्या करोगे? Non-operating income minus करोगे, because you come here adding this, and you will add back non-operating expense, because from here to come here from operating net operating you come subtracting this. तो वापस जाना है तो इसको ऐड करेंगे और इसको subtract करेंगे, so you will get operating profit, right? That's what I've written here. Operating profit is net profit after tax plus the non-operating expenses minus non-operating income. You got the operating profit. Or if you have been given the gross profit, then what do? You subtract operating expense. You're coming down, right? And you add operating income. Then of course you will subtract tax, because tax is an operating expense directly related to your operations. Okay, remember this, tax is always an operating expense. So when you're talking about operating profit, we're talking about net operating profit. You can also write here net operating profit, meaning after tax. Certain examples are given more of operating income: sale of scrap, trading commission, cash discount received, revenue from services. These are also your operating income. Alright. So if we have this picture absolutely clear, I think we can take up a few sums. So here is your sum. Calculate operating ratio and operating profit ratio. Both things. Fine. Statement of profit and loss is given to you. So your starting point is your income, that is revenue from operations. I cannot see any other income here. Okay. So other income is not here, meaning we just have one income. Your operating or non-operating income doesn't exist here. Then expenses are given. Purchases, changes in inventory. We had done in our previous ratios, changes in inventory is opening minus closing stock. Employee benefit expenses and other expenses, total expense and profit before tax. That's it. It's not given profit after tax. Fine. So now from this and the notes to accounts, we will have to first thing find out how much is operating costs here. Operating costs, we just discussed, is cost of goods sold plus the operating expenses. So यहाँ से हमको यही identify करना है क्या क्या चाहिए होगा cost of goods sold find करने के लिए, क्या क्या चाहिए होगा operating expenses का total करने के लिए. So cost of goods sold you all remember purchase plus opening stock minus closing stock plus operating minus closing is given to you, net. Negative 1,20,000. Okay. So ideally, if you want, we have to find out cost of goods sold by doing purchases plus changes in inventory. I have written plus here, assuming opening minus closing is plus. Now, of course, it's given in negative, so this becomes negative. Minus ho jayega obviously. So minus plus changes in inventory plus direct expenses. So direct expenses kya hai? We will not be able to find out from here. Employee benefit expense can be salaries also, wages also, bonus also. Other expenses can be so many. So how do I find out, whether it's a direct or non-direct, indirect? My notes to accounts helps me. Notes to accounts is an explanation to this. Suppose if notes were not given to me, I will not be able to find out or tell that there is any direct expense. So I will assume all expenses to be indirect. Do not assume any of this to be direct unless you have information. Okay. Now we have information, so chill. Sales minus returns. Always we take the net sales for our formula. So 30 lakhs is our revenue from operation. Employee benefit expenses say salary, not wages. So it's not a direct expense, yet it is an operating expense. So operating expense mein jayega, right? Other expenses show carriage inward. Now carriage inward is a direct expense. So carriage inward, a direct expense will be added to my cost of goods sold. Traveling, administrative, selling and distribution, all three are operating expenses related to my operations. Okay. So these will be counted here. Salaries, traveling, administrative, selling and distribution expenses. But we will not take loss on sale of machine. Because loss on sale of machine fixed asset is not an operating expense. ये मेरा usual operations से related नहीं है. Okay. Therefore, we come to calculate operating cost. Cost of goods sold plus operating expenses. Purchases plus changes in inventory plus direct expense. This gives me cost of goods sold. Purchase कितना है 1 lakh 12,50,000 minus changes in inventory because ये minus में दिया है. Closing stock is definitely more than opening, so I have taken as minus plus 60,000 which is your carriage inward direct expense. Added cost of goods sold आ गया. Operating expense I just told you salary 3,60,000, 20 traveling, 1,80,000 is administrative and selling expenditure is this much 1,20,000. So ये 18,70,000 is my total operating costs. What is the formula we just discussed? Operating ratio. Operating cost by revenue from operations into 100. So operating cost divided by revenue from operations into 100. It's coming to some 62.33%. Of course 333 recurring here, so I have taken it as 33. Round it off to 2 decimal places. Do not make it 34. Remember, the small little mistakes where children lose marks. So here we are done with operating ratio. Now if I have to calculate operating profit. Okay, operating profit is what? My gross profit, if I take, minus operating expenses plus operating income minus tax, of course. So of course from in this sum we can find out GP, we can find out operating expenses. There is no operating income and there is no tax given to me, so we will ignore these two. What we will take is gross profit. Now let us take gross profit. I already know 30 lakhs is my revenue from operations. इससे अगर cost of goods sold minus करते हैं, we already have the information of cost of goods sold. This is my cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold will be then 12 lakh 50 minus 1 lakh 20. So 11 lakh 30 plus 60. So 11 lakh 90,000 is my cost of goods sold, right? So my gross profit is 10,000, 12, so 18 lakhs 10,000, right? So 18 lakh 10,000 being my gross profit. Operating expenses, therefore operating profit I will be able to find out. So 18 lakh 10,000 minus all operating expenses taken together. Now I can also find it out from here. 3 lakh 60 plus 23 lakh 80, 4 lakh 80, 5 lakh 60, 5 lakh 80, 6 lakh 80, I guess. Okay, we'll just quickly check that. 3 lakhs, 2 lakh 20, 6 lakh 80, yes. So this is how I get my operating profit. Cost of goods, gross profit minus operating expense. There is no tax, there is no operating income. So I subtract this. So I think it's 11 lakh 30,000. Okay, 31. Yes. So this is my operating profit. Therefore, operating profit ratio is equal to operating profit by revenue from operations 30 lakhs into 100. Alright, it should come to around 37.67%. Let me check it. 37, yeah, 3, okay, 7, 21, yes. Okay, so now we can just also have a quick cross verification. Cross verification meaning, now this is operating ratio, this is operating profit ratio. These are both complementary to each other. Meaning, if I add both of them, I will get 100%. Meaning, operating profit ratio plus operating ratio is equal to 100. This you can check as a quick verification. Of course, this I have rounded it off. It should be 667. This also is rounded off. So if it is coming to 100, then you are on a safe side. Yeah. Because this is one is operating profit. So operating costs agar minus kar denge hum log. So obviously what are left? We are left with is operating profit. So this should come as 100. 100 of what? Revenue from operation. What is 100 here? Revenue from operation. Total. Okay? So now this is how we calculate these two ratios. So I hope the entire concept of operating profit, operating expense, non-operating expense, operating income, non-operating income is clear to you. Okay? So practice more sums on these and get your concepts really clear. Okay? All the best for your sums. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.